It's time to take your seat in the front row with Mike Vaccaro. Here's your host, Mike Vaccaro.
Thank you, Chuck, and welcome everybody in the front row with Mike Vaccaro. I am your host. Behind the scenes, as always, it's JR Quitman, our director, producer, and creator of the show as well. Well, in this episode 17, we go toe-to-toe with a heavyweight champ, James Bonecrusher Smith, a former heavyweight champ who now lives in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, doing some good things with the Legends of Boxing Hall of Fame. We talked to him about his career, going 12 rounds with Mike Tyson, and also a couple of fights with Larry Holmes, and how he won his heavyweight championship in very short notice as well. So a lot to cover for this local guy from Magnolia, North Carolina. He is James Bonecrusher Smith, our guest, episode number 17 of In the Front Row. Well, first of all, Bonecrusher, thanks so much for taking some time out of your schedule to talk to us. And, we love chatting with folks that have great journeys, and you certainly have one of those, and a lot of highlights to that we're going to dive into here this afternoon. And first of all, I want to start with the beginning from you. You know, you came from a small town in North Carolina, Magnolia, North Carolina, born in 1953. What was it like? Because I know it's not a big place right now. It's maybe a population of 1,000 or so. What was it like back in the 50s and 60s for you growing up there?
Well, we grew up on a dirt road farm, and small farm. We were sharecroppers and worked hard. We learned how to work hard early in life, and it was hard. It was tough, and it helped prepare me with what I was going to do next, and which was boxing. Had to be tough and work hard.
Well, before boxing, though, you were involved with some other sports as well. What else were you doing? Because I know early days, boxing wasn't just there just yet. It hadn't developed yet as far as, what you were going to do professionally.
I went to James Keenan High School and played basketball. Wanted to play football, one of the biggest kids in school, but my parents were loving parents, and they said, "Don't play football, you might get hurt." So it's kind of ironic that I ended up being a prize fighter.
Yeah, they didn't want you to play football, but eventually you did play football, correct? You went to James Sprung Community College, Shaw, as well, and you played there?
1 year at Shaw University. I said, I'm going to try this football thing. And I went out, made the team, and played a little bit. But I can imagine what I could have been had I started early in life.
You went to Shaw, as you said. You got a degree there. You got your undergraduate degree at James Sprung. And it was in business administration. What did you think you were going to be doing once you graduated from those institutions?
I didn't know. I didn't know. So I just wanted to get my education because my parents was big in education, and they promoted education, and we had to get that degree. But I was the first in the family to get that degree too.
Did that mean a lot to you and to them to have that be the case?
Absolutely. And later on in life, I would I started a foundation which helped kids continue their education and mentoring program.
Yeah, your life kind of comes full circle. We're going to talk a little bit about that later on as well. But you go to James Sprung, you go to Shaw, you graduate. What was the next step for you? Because it wasn't boxing right away, but what was that next step?
Going to Shaw University, and actually it kind of I was watching TV one afternoon, Saturday afternoon, Wide World of Sports, and there was this guy on there, boxer on there, and we all know who he is. And he was saying, "I am the greatest." And I started doing some what is. I said, this guy's a great fighter. I said, but as far as I know, there has never been a heavyweight champion with a college degree. And I started right there thinking that if I go ahead and get my degree at Shaw University, and then start boxing, and I could become the first, and then somehow or another become heavyweight champion of the world, and I could become the first college grad to become heavyweight champion of the world. And really, I did that. It just started with an idea. It's amazing what you can do with an idea, and just work hard and don't give up, don't quit.
Yeah, it is. Like you said, you're the only one with a degree. But with that, though, you came a little bit later in life to boxing, and it started in the Army, I guess. Tell us about that, and you were kind of discovered when you were on base in Germany. Is that correct?
I was in Würzburg, Germany, and my phone keep going off. My phone go off all the time, I get calls from all over the world. It's amazing. And yeah, I met this guy. I went in the gym to play basketball, and the boxing coach was in there. And he asked me to try out for boxing. I said, "Nah, man, I'm not a boxer. I just do basketball." So he finally talked me into working out and got me a fight. And I knocked the guy out of his shoes my first fight. And it's just kind of the story. I was strong, but I didn't know what I was doing, So I just started training and working out, and things kind of came together.
That first fight, I mean, was it your basketball background that helped you out the most, or was it that little bit of football background that you had?
I think it was all of it. I think the strength came from that farm, and working on the hay bales and instead of barbells and corn and different things we had to do, and that helped prepare me for what I was going to do next.
Again, great amateur career for you. You were 35-4 as an amateur during that time in between the Army, and then you also were a prison guard as well. So did that boxing career, your amateur career, help you out being a prison guard during that time?
Absolutely. I was big and strong, and inmates would look at me. They didn't want to bother me. So I was quiet, and I just stayed to myself. And basically that's the lifestyle that I have today. And I'm a nice guy, and I don't bother anybody, but I'm big enough, nobody bothers me either.
Yeah, you're smiling and laughing too much for a heavyweight champ here, but we appreciate that. You got a great demeanor, all these years later, and you were the guy that gave yourself the nickname, right? Bonecrusher? Was that from your amateur career?
Yeah, I used to hit guys real hard. I used to hit them in the ribs and crack the ribs, hit them in the jaw, break the jaw. Man, I used to be the Bonecrusher.
What's that feeling like? You're in the boxing ring, and it's mano a mano, and you're going up against somebody like that, and then you're having success like that. Is there an adrenaline rush that goes along with that?
Absolutely. Looking back on my career, I fought 10 world champions, and I fought 3 world champions twice. And the second fight, Witherspoon, is when I won the title, and I won the title on 7-day notice, first round knockout on HBO. I mean, it was just pretty awesome.
And again, you go back to, mentioning Muhammad Ali earlier there, being the greatest. When you're a heavyweight champ and you're going for the titles, do you have to be a little bit of a self-promoter as well? And again, you give yourself the nickname, but you have to hype yourself up in times like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm still a promoter.
Yeah, you're doing some great work that we're going to talk about as well. Let's get into some of these fights. So your first fight, your professional fight, it didn't go quite the way you wanted to. James Broad, back in November of 1981, you lost that fight, but then you won 14 straight, 12 of those by knockout. What did you learn maybe from that first fight that then you corrected and took into your next fights that helped you be so successful?
If I was going to stick around, and I did want to stick around, I want to be part of it, I had to get in shape. And I had to hire a guy that knew how to get the body in shape. So I hired Emo Griffith, 6-time world champion, and he got me in shape, and he prepared me for my fights.
Yeah, as you said, a lot of heavyweight fights, a lot of big champs. You fought Larry Holmes for the first time November 9th, 1984. Technical knockout, you lost because of some cuts. What was that like? Tell us about that experience that you had going up against the Eastern assassin, Larry Holmes.
Well, I'm going to tell you about that, but also I like to talk a little bit about the fight right before that. And I was in London, England.
That's right.
And I knocked out a guy by the name of Frank Bruno, and he was undefeated. He had knocked out everybody. Everybody he fought, he knocked him out. And when I got to England, I told everybody, the media, that I was going to knock him out. And I did knock him out in the 10th round. And he was supposed to fight Larry Holmes, and I took his place. And
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
yeah, but the fight with Larry Holmes in November, uh, being in Las Vegas, I mean, it was just wild. I mean, just being in Las Vegas. Now you fighting a guy like Larry Holmes. He was undefeated too, and he beat all those guys. And I was just in awe, and really, I could have beat Larry Holmes too. I could have beat everybody that I fought. Everybody, if I started earlier and hit him with my shots, and that's what Ema Griffin tried to get me to do. But I was just held back some of the fights, and the guys that I jumped on early on, I knocked them out. And he said, "You can knock out everybody. Everybody. You got the power. You can knock everybody out. Everybody."
Well, you certainly did a lot of that during your career. And yes, Frank Bruno, as you said, he was 21-0 during the time. He was English. So you go on his home turf, as you said, you said you were going to win. Did that put pressure on you to back that up and to defeat him?
Absolutely. I mean, you put your mouth out there like that. You got to try to go through and do it. But, God had put something in my spirit. He put it in my spirit to believe that I could do it. And I just believed that I could do it.
Let's go back to Larry Holmes for a second, too, because, again, a heavyweight champ. And you rank him, I read, as the third best heavyweight champ of all time. What made him, in your mind, so good?
Timing. I think it's just like Lennox Lewis. I mean, Lennox Lewis came along at the right time, and he caught guys on the tail end of their career, and he was able to beat everybody. And I think even though Larry was a little bit different, Larry was a little bit tougher, and he had a style, that jab, awesome jab. So he did fight guys in their prime, and he was good. And he might, because he beat Muhammad Ali too. So we might have to rank him up there as number one. I know in his mind he's number one.
Yeah, in everyone's mind they're number one, right? Larry Holmes included, I'm sure. So eventually you got hooked up with Don King and you were on a lot of his undercards. What did that do for you, for your career and your notoriety and helping you continue to climb the ladder and get some title shots eventually as the heavyweight champ?
Yeah, all that took place, and it positioned me. It was a lawsuit with Don, and the settle of that lawsuit is what got the title shot with Tim Witherspoon. Don gave me a 7-day notice. 7-day notice to fight Witherspoon. He had beat me the year before, and I took the fight, and I felt like it was my last go around, last chance to win the title. So I jumped right on Witherspoon, knocked him out in the first round.
Yeah, as you said, before that, you did lose to him in 1986. Because you had such a short turnaround the next time, did it help you that you already fought him, even though you lost? You maybe learned something and help you prepare so quickly?
Yes. Witherspoon was a big, strong guy, and he seemed to get stronger as the fight go on. So I didn't want a long fight with him again.
Yeah, the second time, I mean, it was 132 seconds. You knocked him down 3 times. What was the difference the second time with him?
I got mad. I was mad, and I wrote a book. I'm an author too, so I got a book out there, but the name Mad, Make a Decision. So I made a decision that I was going to stop Witherspoon early in the fight, and that's what I did.
And that was at Madison Square Garden as well. So the mecca of places, the short turnaround.
HBO.
How'd you get it done? How'd you get it done so quickly?
I didn't think about it. I didn't even think about what I had to do. And I think, that happens a lot of times when people think too much. It's good to think, but you can think too much. You can think yourself right out of a situation that you need to have. And so I think instead of doing all that thinking, just go ahead and do it. Nike has an awesome slogan, just do it.
Again, after that fight with Tim Witherspoon, you win the heavyweight championship, WBA heavyweight title. And then another kind of quick turnaround because you took on Mike Tyson. Tim Witherspoon was December 12th, 1986, March 7th, 1987. 3 months later, what was that like getting ready for Mike Tyson, who was obviously an up-and-coming guy and really good at the time?
Mike was, he was acting kind of strange. He had that twitch in his neck, and he had a bald spot at the top of his head. He came in with no shirt, no socks. I mean, this guy's a strange guy, and he still is a strange guy.
And he was good. He was 28-0 at the time, right?
Yeah. He's good. Yeah.
You go 12 rounds with him. I mean, he was knocking people out first round. Seconds into the fight, it seemed like. You go 12 rounds. What was 12 rounds with Mike Tyson like?
It was crazy because he's so short. So I'm 6'4". He's about 5'11", and a lot of my shots were going right over his head. I mean, I never could figure him out. But had I paid attention more to what my trainer was telling me to do, Emo Griffith knew how to fight everybody. He killed the guy in the ring, so he knew how to fight everybody, anybody. So if like I said, had I followed more with what he told me to do, I could stop Tyson too.
As a boxer, in other sports, you're watching game film of your opponent. Were you doing that at that time back in the 80s and 90s? Was that something you would do? Look at any film of your boxer, your opponent, to try to learn some of their nuances?
I did some, but Tyson's trainer manager had one of the biggest fight collections in everybody. And he studied guys, and that's how he was able to beat guys.
What were his punches like back then? Again, you hear about it. You didn't want to get punched by him. He's knocking people out. What was it like for him back in that day, back when he fought you?
Well, he was a hard puncher, but I fought guys that could punch harder. It was a small guy. Him and Evander, they small guys. So, but I fought a few guys that punch harder than Mike Tyson.
I saw you called this the hardest fight, though, that you had. Was it the opponent, or was it the 12 rounds? What made it the hardest?
He was hard to hit. Thank you.
All right, we're going to have the championship belt here. Again, you beat Tim Weatherspoon, in 1986, and there it is. That's the WBA heavyweight title.
Yeah, what do you think?
So you certainly showed that off with pride, and that title that you had, that quick turnaround against him as well. That's amazing. That's great to see.
Yeah, thank you.
That is awesome. I appreciate you sharing that with us here today. So again, a tough fight with Tyson. You go 12 rounds. He comes out ahead in the decision. What were you thinking at that point? What was going to be your next step at that point?
Well, I was disappointed, and I wanted to get my mind straight, and I did, and I continued to fight a little bit, but it was basically over at that time.
Well, 37 more fights, after that point as well, and you won a couple more titles, right? Against Mike Weaver, against Camille Odom. Tell us about those fights and what you remember from those two opportunities that you had.
Well, Mike Weaver, they call him Hercules, and they call him Hercules for a reason. He's very strong, and I want to get him out early. So there was a 12, I think a 12-round fight. He went the distance, but the other fight, I knocked him out first round too. Yeah, and the Odom fight, I was in LA at the Forum in LA and stopped him, knocked him down several times. So he was kind of easy.
You've been in a lot of different venues. Is there one venue that sticks out in your mind that you just enjoyed being in the ring in that venue?
Well, in Australia, I fought in Australia as well. So, but I didn't enjoy it. I got stopped. Actually, I dislocated my shoulder. But I love the country. I mean, the continent, whatever it is. It was a beautiful place, beautiful people, and they treated me pretty nice. I'd love to go back there.
Boxing now compared to then, maybe MMA, UFC has taken away some of the fan support, but do you see boxing as still being as popular as it was back then? Because again, some of the names yourself, Bonecrusher Smith, Larry Holmes, Tim Weatherspoon, you mentioned Mike Tyson, some big names, Muhammad Ali obviously as well. Is it as big now as it was back then?
I think it has lost some steam because of MMA, and I think it can come back though if guys like myself get more involved, try to be promoters and trainers. I think we can promote the business. I started the Boxing Legends Hall of Fame project and to recognize champions, but I think being involved is a good way to get kids into boxing and promote them as well.
Again, for you, you came late to boxing. You decided to retire. Your last fight was June 18th, 1999 against Larry Holmes once again. And it was in North Carolina, in Fayetteville, right? The Crown Coliseum. What do you remember about that? And were you going into that knowing it was going to be your last fight?
Yeah. It was just it was a big payday. I think we made $250,000 for that fight, and for old men to make that kind of money, and I was part of the promotion. I couldn't say no.
Was that your biggest payday in your career?
I made $1 million with Tyson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Money now a little bit bigger than it was back then?
I mean, Mayweather got $100 million. I think when he fought the other guy, Pacquiao, somebody, he made $300 million. It's crazy. It's crazy money now. And now they got this thing going on that it's not even real fights, and they making big paydays. I mean, they talk about Tyson fighting again, and it's like 20 or 30 or 40, 50 million. I mean, it's crazy money. And it's not even a real fight.
Yeah, you certainly were in the real fight, so the money wasn't quite there back then. But again, a great career, 44-17, 32 knockouts as well. Are you a guy, do you remember the knockouts and the wins more, or do you remember the setbacks, the losses more? Which one?
The setbacks and the losses, because I was in more pain.
So the pain set you straight there. And
Yeah.
Recent years, I mean, what is your health like? What does a boxing career do to your health, especially on the heavyweight level, fighting the guys that you did? What has that done maybe later in life for you? And, are you kind of, dealing with some of those things now?
Huh?
Didn't you have some knee replacements?
Huh?
Did you have a knee replacement? Yeah, you're just playing with me now.
Yeah, I had 3 knee replacements. Broken bone in my back. I got swelling in my ankle now, so I got to get surgery for that. And so, other than that, I mean, I feel good. I mean, I just got married November 13th and got a new wife. And excited about that. So she helps me out a whole lot.
Well, again, you look great. And, you look back, just such an amazing career. Do you ever wonder what else you would have done if it weren't for boxing and what your heavyweight career has done for you?
I think I could play in the NFL as well. I mean, how I started, I have a cousin, a nephew that's playing with the Denver Broncos now. So he's from Magnolia. So I think I could play in the NFL as well. But boxing's been pretty good to me. I was able to continue my mentoring program, Champion for Kids, and I was able to start the Boxing Legends Hall of Fame project. And I was able to, each year we bring a bunch of the guys in town into Myrtle Beach. We just brought Buster Douglas in, Michael Spinks come every year, and they're my business partners now. So we're going to be getting more guys involved, the champions, and as well as the kids involved.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The Legends of Boxing Hall of Fame. There is the International Boxing Hall of Fame in New York. For you, why do this? Why do this effort to obviously bring some more recognition to the sport that you love and that did so much for you? But why?
Every year I'm overlooked being in that big one up there in New York. They overlook me every year, and I said, a few years ago, I said, since they overlooked me, I'm gonna create my own, and so that's what I've done. At some point, we want to have a mobile museum, and also I would like to have a permanent place in Myrtle Beach It's called the Boxing Legends Hall of Fame Museum in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. A vacation destination. You're in Wilmington, you got to come.
Exactly. It's a quick ride, and I was surprised. I was looking on the International Boxing Hall of Fame website last night, and I was surprised to not see your name there. Why do you think that is? What do you think you needed to do, or still maybe need to do to help get your name out there?
Well, me and the director had a little fallout, and he can't get over it. I mean, I said, and so one of the things that I like to do when I go there, I still go there every now and then. I like to sell my stuff. I like to sell my gloves, pictures, and different things. And he don't like that. And other champions, he had run-ins with him as well, and he likes to profit. He likes to make the money off of us, and he don't want us to make money off of ourselves. And so I just called him out on it, and we have a problem with that.
You think eventually you'll be in there? Maybe change in leadership of that Hall of Fame will eventually do that.
Well, I hope so, but I'll have my own place in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, a vacation destination as opposed to Onion Field in upstate New York.
Yeah, a little different locale for sure. Again, as you said, you became an ordained minister. You worked with kids. You worked with impoverished fighters as well. What led you to that, and your willingness to help people in what you're doing right now as well?
God gave me the ability to do that, and this is my way of saying thank you for blessing me, for being alive in good health, sound mind, and able to do that. And that's what I do. I think I know when I die, I want to be in the promised land with Jesus Christ.
Well, again, you're doing some great things. Boxing now, as we talked about, a little bit different in your mind. And we mentioned Larry Holmes. Who else are some of the and where do you rank maybe in your mind in the best heavyweights of all time?
George Foreman. Let's see who else. Witherspoon. All the guys that won the title. They were good. I mean, you had to be good. They just don't give you that title. You have to earn that title. So if you earn the title, if you're a champion, then hey, you're pretty good. Real good.
And again, you came up at a time against some of the best. If you would have started earlier, do you think your results would have been different?
I could have been in jail by now, or dead. There's a lot of guys going on, this lifestyle.
How much do you follow the sport now, and who do you enjoy watching now?
It's hard. It's hard because it's hard. I don't know. I don't even know who the champion is now.
You think, again, back in your day, it was HBO. It was, easy access to watch all these fights. Is that changed as well? The pay-per-view and everything else that makes it harder for maybe people to consume the sport of boxing?
Yeah, I think so. I fought on ESPN. I mean, regular TV, ABC, NBC, all that. I think it's fans have a chance to follow us more because of an opportunity, not once a year, twice a year, or something like that. Every other weekend, you see somebody on TV fighting. So I think access was a big deal.
Again, Legends of Boxing Hall of Fame in beautiful Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. How can people get involved if they want to help this, move it along and make sure that this does become reality down there and something that people can visit while they're on vacation and take a look at the history of this sport?
They can look at my website, championforkids.org, or they can email me at bonecrusher8@aol.com.
Again, you're a local guy. I'm sure you could have lived wherever you wanted to live as a former heavyweight champ. And, why stay in the Southeast for you? Again, from North Carolina, not far from Myrtle Beach where you're at now. Why stay in the area?
The weather's nice. It's a little cool today, but it won't stay cool. The weather will be pretty nice all the time. And we got the beach and nice people, and that's why. I mean, I'm here, and I might go away for a little while, vacation. It's hard to leave Myrtle Beach to go on vacation. Myrtle Beach is a vacation destination, like Wilmington.
For you, again, former heavyweight champ, how do you want people to remember you and your time, whether it be in the ring or whether it's been what you've done since then? How do you want to be remembered?
Well, he's a nice person, a good guy, nice person. He worked hard, and he tried to help some people, and that's how I want to be remembered.
So that overrides being a heavyweight champ, nice person, and helping people?
Heavyweight champ of the world. And allow me to help people.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Using your platform for a lot of good, and we certainly appreciate you spending time with us here today, champ. And again, I can't thank you enough for spending time with us, sharing some stories with us as well. And we wish you the best of luck. Once again, if people want to get involved, give us that information once again for Legends of Boxing Hall of Fame.
Go to championforkids.org. They can email me at bonecrusher8@aol.com.
All right, Bonecrusher, we appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck with that. And we'll be heading to Myrtle Beach here soon to take a look at the Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, once again, my thanks to James Bonecrusher Smith for joining us in the front row, episode number 17. A great guest, great stories. We hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. If you're enjoying this podcast, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the podcast as well. We have more great guests coming your way here very soon. For JR Equipment, our entire crew, we thank you for joining us here. We'll see you next time for another edition of In the Front Row with Mike Vaccaro. Have a great day.